I am sitting at my desk and working when my dog Dancer jumps up and barks at the door. It is not his "I am alerting the world to danger" bark, but rather like my dog Odin, his "Joan is coming" bark, which he uses to announce my wife's arrival. I think that Dancer learned this bark from Odin, or if not the specific bark, at least the occasion to bark. Most of my dogs seem to develop some form of signal to indicate when family members or close friends are coming. No two dogs have ever used exactly the same barking sounds, but they are always distinctive enough so that after a while, I have learned which signals apply to which people. In response to Dancer's signal, I get up to make sure that the door is unlocked and to greet her. I glance out, but no one is there. I have been through this routine enough times to know what is happening. I wander back toward my desk, and a few minutes later, Dancer gives his announcement again. This time, when I glance out the window, I see her van pulling into its usual parking space. This is not evidence of ESP, where some psychic sense allows my dog to sense my wife's presence 2 or 3 minutes before she actually arrives. It is rather evidence of the acute sense of hearing that dogs have relative to that of humans, at least for certain types of sounds. We can rule out ESP quite simply in favor of hearing by noting that Dancer has been giving this bark for several years. However, when Joan's car finally reached a state of disrepair which required that we get her another, Dancer did not give any alerting barks for close to a month after the change in vehicles. It appears that he had to learn that the sounds made by the new van were associated with Joan's arrival. When my son-in-law John drops Joan off at home after she has visited my daughter Carrie, Dancer does not give his alerting bark. Obviously, if precognition were involved, the particular vehicle that my wife was arriving in should make no difference. If the cue were a sound, even though the diesel truck and the sports utility van he drives are both considerably noisier than Joan's van, they are neither familiar nor threatening sounds, and hence do not cause Dancer to sound an alert. Although a dog seems to have better hearing than a human, it is not just an issue of being more sensitive to the same sounds that we hear. I have often read that a dog's hearing is 4 times more acute than ours, which is not strictly true. This statement comes from an informal experiment conducted by P.W.B. Jocelyn, whose research involved monitoring the activities of timber wolves in Algonquin Park. He discovered that captive wolves responded to his own attempts at howling from a distance of 4 miles away, whereas even on a quiet night, his attempts at howling could not be heard by his human colleagues from more than a mile away. The fact that a canine can hear sounds coming from 4 times farther away than a person can is probably what led to this interpretation. The truth of the matter is that for some sounds, a dog's hearing is really hundreds of times better than ours, whereas for other sounds, dogs and humans have sound sensitivities that are very much the same.